Hello, welcome to the 2024 annual meetings of the IMF and World Bank Group. This is Women Transforming the World. My name is Shakuntala Santwan, Shaks for short. It is Accelerate Equality Day here at the World Bank, and this morning we're going to talk about something that will benefit us all, unlocking the financial potential of women around the world for their well-being and to accelerate progress in all areas of development. But there are many obstacles. Our distinguished panel of experts will talk about these and share solutions that can be scaled up to help drive global progress. We'd love to hear from you. You can share your thoughts anytime using the hashtag WBG Meetings. We have experts in multiple languages standing by to answer your questions online at live.worldbank.org. Please post your questions in the live chat or just use the QR codes displayed around the room if you're here with us. And now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Ajay Banga, President of the World Bank Group, Her Excellency Sandra Ablamba-Johnson, Minister and Secretary General of the Presidency of Togo, the Right Honourable Annalise Dodds, Minister for Development and Minister for Women and Equalities of the United Kingdom, and the Honourable Adebayo Olawale Edu, Nigeria's Minister of Finance. Please. A very warm welcome to you all. This is such a timely conversation. Let's dive right in, starting with you, please, Ajay. So, the World Bank changed its mission last year to that of creating a world free of poverty on a livable planet with women at the center. When you announced this, you said that we cannot defeat poverty with half the world's population on the sidelines. Have you examples for us of how we can bring more women into the game?
So thank you, and that's absolutely the right. I actually think you and I did a panel together last year on that very topic, so that's an important aspect of this. At the end of the day, the productivity and capacity of women to change our future is second to none. And the reason is very simple. They bring up our families, they bring up our cultures, they bring up our values. They end up doing a lot of informal work. If you can convert that informal work to leadership and real work, and if you can do it in a constructive way where nobody feels that somebody else is being denied an opportunity because someone else has been given one, but just that everybody is getting a level playing field that they deserve to be able to run and win, then I believe we can unlock enormous opportunity and enormous potential for the future. Inside this is a serious issue of cultural biases and historical biases against this topic. So it's not that easy to do, it's easy to speak to. But I've seen firsthand over the years, Shaks, when I was in my prior jobs back at Citibank and MasterCard, that if you enable a lady of the house with social and economic independence, she transforms her family forever. So the multiplier effect of her ability to not only transform her life, but that of those around her is why I believe that unlocking the potential of this dormant opportunity is enormous for our future. It fits into many things. In climate, to be completely honest, I have this way of describing man versus humanity as the challenge for nature. I was told man versus humanity is politically incorrect. I should use, I should say humanity versus nature. I actually still think I'm right. It's man versus humanity. That's a challenge on nature, because it's the men who like their Humvees and their big trucks and so on. I've never seen a woman really enjoying a Humvee to drive. And so I just think this is a deep issue, whether in a village or a town. That's the first thing. The second piece is, you cannot get this out of the way, that cultural bias, without clear light being shined on the data that can embarrass people about why they should do things differently. So one of the things that we want to do is to use our ability to create data and the transparency of data to make this conversation come above water and have a really good discussion. The third part of this is that the regulatory laws in many countries, you look at our Women in Law report, it tells you that women don't have the same rights across certain parts of the world. And I think, again, we can be helpful in both shining a light, but also helping to move those policies in the right way, from asset ownership to business ownership and the like. And then the last two things I'd say about getting them in is you cannot get them to come to work from where they live if you don't give them safety in going and coming. And so safety comes in many ways. Of course, better policing, but a bus rapid transit system, which has benefits on climate, actually has enormous benefits in the safety of a woman going to work and coming back. And the same is true of things like childcare. The historical role that a woman plays in a family's evolution needs to be managed in a way that we enable her to also do this other thing we're talking about. And so there are things the bank is doing already on all of these. I just think bringing a light to them, focusing on them, and multiplying our effort with ambitious targets, aligning all parts of the bank to do it, and working with partners like these is what will make a difference.
So the World Bank has long championed gender equality, and this year you launched a new gender strategy focused on 3 pillars, ending...
You're still with me?
Yes, Ajay.
Okay.
Still with you. We want to hear more from you. So there are 3 pillars to this new gender strategy, right? Ending gender-based violence and giving women quality of life with economic empowerment and leadership. And you are now starting the economic empowerment phase or increasing that phase. What are the goals and what's your approach on this?
So I'm going to, it's a little difficult to divorce one from the other because they're all kind of interconnected. But for a minute, let's take economic empowerment. And our goals for today's meeting are to put out 3 clear places we're going. And the first is to include women in our social benefit programs. So we're saying that 250 million women, 250 million women, everything is by 2030. 250 million women, 250 million, should benefit directly from these social benefit programs that we do ourselves and with partners in different countries. Partners like governments, but also institutions of other types, fintechs and banks and the like. The idea here is not just to put the money out there. The idea is to create the digital registries that enable the money to reach these women without the sticky fingers that come along the way if you go through physical channels. And at the same time, thereby, give them a chance to be digitally educated with skills and the like, or coaching, so they can actually do something and transform from this to more. The second big pillar is broadband. Our world is being driven by data and technology, and if women are locked out of broadband, it's kind of not a good place to be if you're ambitious to change this method. So we want to get to 300 million women with broadband connectivity by 2030. What that's going to require, obviously we're not giving it to a woman and not to a man. But the idea is to ensure that you go to places where infrastructure and reach is the poorest. Typically, that's where the woman is the most disadvantaged. And thereby bias the system towards getting more women to get the benefit of broadband connectivity. Do it both through infrastructure, but also through, for example, in 15 African countries, we've actually got tangible programs in place, not just for the infrastructure, but also all the things that need to come with the infrastructure to make the connectivity real and actually be something that she can derive value from. Skills, learning, access to financial services, all that. And the third item is more specific. It's 80 million women we want to connect to financial services in a way to get them capital or equity or debt for their businesses. I believe that the entrepreneurial opportunity with enabling this female gender entrepreneur to go out there and build businesses is enormous. One very simple thing I've seen all my years, if a woman starts a business, she tends to employ a lot of women. And so this can be our multiplier. Everywhere all I'm talking about is using this as multiplier effects. So the idea is to get 80 million women access through our partners, fintechs, private equity funds, banks, incubators, the whole lot. But then what about gender bonds? If we can do green bonds, why can't we do gender bonds? And raise money for the purpose from there. And then, the team here, Mamta and her team, have got this Women Entrepreneurs Finance Code going in 25 countries. And we want to use, actually, I think Nigeria is one of them. We want to use these 25 country pilots as a way to help enact regulatory reform and the right kind of access to financial services and the like. So think of it as 250 million access to social benefits, 300 million broadband, and 80 million to financial capability to open their own business.
So this is not just the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do. There's a major opportunity here. If anyone needs convincing, there is World Bank data that shows that if women were employed at the same rate as men, long-run income per capita could grow by almost 20%. So that is a major opportunity for the benefit of us all. And if I may just say, Minister Johnson, Minister Dodds, you are women who are really helping transform the world. I'm sure you are an inspiration to many women and girls in your countries and beyond. Thank you. We are grateful to have you here with us. And also you, gentlemen, because we need all hands on deck. Right? Now, Minister Johnson, so Togo has made reforms to improve the legal rights of women in your country as part of your commitment to advancing gender equality. Togo's had a very strong showing in the World Bank's latest Women, Business and the Law report. Why are these legal reforms so important for women and for Togo's economic progress?
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. And I would like also to express my sincere thanks to you, Ajay, for inviting me to join this important discussion on the gender, which is very, very dear to my heart, and to that of men and women also in my country. And let me tell you that the first person who holds this agenda in our country is the head of state himself. For us, we think that there is no way that we can achieve sustainable development without involving women, because they are the majority. It's like the parliament. And in Togo, women represent 52%. And in this, we think that, or we strongly believe that investing in women remain the way that we can easily achieve our social and economic development. In Togo, we do a lot, but I will try to focus on the three areas. The first related to the women economy and business. The second related to the financial inclusive, because Ajay also talked about it. And the third related to the women leadership. And when I take the women business area, it's very well known that Togolese women stand out as having entrepreneurship inbuilt in the DNA. For those who know Togo, you all know the Nana Benz. Those women who across the entire Africa rose to prominence and became year by year the first billionaire, I repeat well, the first billionaire women business in trading in West Africa. And these women work in textile, branding work, between 1968 and 1980. They contributed a lot to the prestige of the continent. But let me tell you that most of these women never attended school. Most of these women never attended school. And we believe that by the conviction, the determination to succeed, they surprise the African continent. As evidence, this woman that we call Nana Benz offered graciously to the government as part of head of state meeting in Lomé, the luxury Mercedes-Benz for organizing the meeting. Just means that when you make the condition, women can easily surprise you more than we think. So I think that we need more of Nana Benz at scale. And in Togo, we are working on it. On financial inclusion, as you know, research has proven that women, because I see my sister here, are better payer of the loan. And in Togo, we have eliminated the gender gap by setting up a dedicated, inclusive financial fund to all the communities. but I will let you appreciate the results. 10 years after, because they celebrate the 10 years last March, 2,000 of Togolese out of 8,000 beneficiary this assistance financial. And 80% are women.
Wow.
But the surprise is in that these women who receive, firstly, around 76,000, not only pay very well their loan, as you say, but now apply for $80,000, from $60,000 to $80,000. How amazing. Once again, it's showing that if woman you put here in the good condition, she doesn't have money. She doesn't just need to be in confidence, and she can easily surprise you. On women leadership sides, in Togo, we believe that having women in decision-making roles at every level is critical to realize women empowerment. And we are practicing that. Our Prime Minister is a woman. Previous parliament chaired by a woman. The Chief of Cabinet of the President is a woman, myself. And 1/3 of the government are women.
Wow.
Let me end by congratulating the bank for launching the target for gender equality to measure the implementation of the World Bank Gender Equality. Targets are great at the push to stretch, and in Togo, we embrace this. And we are working to help Togolese women to prosper. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Johnson, for sharing all that. Very encouraging to hear all that progress in Togo. So Minister Johnson and Ajay, you were both talking about the need to close the financial gap, right, for women-led businesses, among other things. And as you said, Ajay, Nigeria is taking concrete steps in that direction. You're piloting the Women Entrepreneurs Finance Code, which aims to boost funding for women entrepreneurs around the world. There is a global funding shortfall of some $1.7 trillion for women-led businesses. And the We Finance Code, by the way, is inspired and modeled after the UK's Investing in Women Code. If women were on an equal footing with men in entrepreneurship, they could add some $5 trillion per year to the global economy. So in addition to being a signatory of this code, Nigeria also has flagship programs like Nigeria for Women. Minister Dune, what impact is this having? And as a finance minister, why is it important for countries to invest in expanding economic opportunities for women?
Thank you. And you know, figures and data are being bandied around here and are being focused on and used to measure progress. As I look around, I can see there are far more women in this audience than men. And rightly so, because I think if you start from the point of view of where are we, which direction are we going in terms of the improvement in the lives of women, social justice, equality, access to opportunity, including finance, I'm not sure that we can say that we're moving yet in the right direction. I'm not sure that we can say we're making progress at the rate that we need to. So it is very, very, I think it's very opportune that we're here discussing this topic and that we have this audience. In Nigeria, 49% of the population are women. And so, apart from the social justice aspect, just the pure economics of it, as Ajay and others have said here today, if you have a plane and it has 2 engines, and you decide to fly on 1 engine, compare that with if you decide to give both engines a chance. You will go farther, you will go faster, you will go higher, you will go better. And it's really as simple as that. If we empower our female population and give them the same access that we have given our men, the whole society will be better off for it. And I think that goes without saying. In Nigeria, we have been deliberate. We have a national action plan for the empowerment, the economic empowerment of women. It was launched just recently, a year or two ago by the president. But what it points to is that it is a deliberate commitment, and it comes from the very top politically. We have our flagship programs, and we're grateful to the World Bank for the Nigeria for Women project. And what that does, it currently in 6 states and to be rolled out in even more. And I think it's a project that people around the world should take the opportunity to come and see and learn from, because what it does is it puts women in what we call women affinity groups, essentially self-help groups. And within those groups, there are about 22,000. And within those groups, women learn, they train, they get funding, they get education, they get assistance, and of course, between themselves, they strengthen themselves, and in particular, they fund themselves. So they have group saving schemes whereby they, in turn, lend to each other. And that has proved a very successful model for helping those women to get on their feet, get a chance to be entrepreneurs, and of course, learn about life skills across the board. And of course, they now become a focal point at which the likes of donors, government can access them. In addition, for the critical age of 10 to 20 young girls, and we know historically, culturally, traditionally, the kinds of difficulties they can face, from early marriage and so on and so forth, and violence, so on and so forth. And so we have a program. Thanks very much again, Ajay. It is World Bank supported. And what it does is that it helps those, that group to stay in education, to stay within the formal purview of education, training, support, funding for those who want to become entrepreneurs, skills development for others. And it also intervenes to make sure that the all-important financing that sometimes takes them out of the educational sector and the educational line, that they have the funding to keep them on track. That is proving very, very successful as well. And you can have no greater commitment than to young girls through those vulnerable years. And that's what that project is doing. We also, in the digital space, the all-important digital space that, as we know, can be so empowering. We have around $600 million of funding going into a program called the Digital and Creative Enterprises sector. And it's aimed at 15 to 35-year-olds. So all the way from those still at school that are trying to be entrepreneurs, all the way to the age of 35. And around 30% is earmarked for young women. It helps them with startup capital. It helps them with technology training. It helps them with general skills development. So these are very deliberate, very targeted initiatives that are aimed at ensuring that we empower women over and above what the normal schooling system, what the traditional system, and what the culture in which they are in would do for them. And of course, the results are likely to be phenomenal because these are talented, these are ambitious, these are energetic people, and what they want is that chance to show what they can do, that help and that support to get on the ladder to success. Thank you.
Bravo. And as you said, why are we flying a plane with just one engine? Such a great analogy. Thank you, Minister Adoon. Now, Minister Dodds, you are the UK's Minister for International Development and also Domestic Minister for Women and Equalities. It is the first time that the UK has combined these roles. So what is the UK doing to promote gender equality, and how does this relate to your international development priorities?
Well, thank you so much for having me on this very distinguished panel. I'm very grateful to Ajay for inviting me to be here, and my goodness, it's so inspiring to be with people who really have been at the forefront of pushing this agenda forward, which is so important, and it is critical for the new UK government as we seek to modernise our approach to international development and indeed put women and girls at the heart of all that we do. I am the governor for the UK on 5 MDBs. We also have, for the first time, our governor for the IMF being a woman, so 2 women in those roles for the first time for the UK. Yay. We're very pleased. And I don't want to repeat all that's been said already so powerfully, but very clearly it's the case that from the climate crisis through to conflict, so often it's women and girls who are at the brunt of crises, but we're often cut out of making the solutions as well. We believe that needs to change. We know from the UK's experience that putting women and girls' equality at the forefront also delivers very powerfully for economic development as well. We are seeing many women and girls experience a devastating rollback of their rights and freedoms, and at home and internationally as a result. I wish we didn't have to keep making this argument, the moral, political, economic argument for women's equality, but clearly we do still need to be doing that. We already, of course, have heard about that potential economic impact from greater inclusion, from women working in the formal labour market at the same rate as men, also from women having more similar pay rates to men. And the 20% difference was already mentioned rightly by Shaq. Just to say, if you look at the long-term impact of this, that's about adding the US's economic output onto the global economy. That's the change we could get if we made sure that women were economically empowered. But the World Economic Forum recently assessed it's going to take us 134 years to close that global gender gap at current rates. My goodness, I don't think I'm going to be around then, and I don't think many of this audience are going to be around then. We've got to accelerate on this. We really need to make sure that emerging areas of employment like green growth, but also construction, other areas of our economies and care, that they are including women fully, that we also see that empowering women and girls isn't just the right thing to do, that it's assessed as a core part of economic policy. And we're really delighted by the targets that Ajay set out. We think they really will be important in pushing this agenda forward. But the UK's experience also tells us that women's economic empowerment can't be addressed in isolation from a range of other factors. And we've already talked about many of these today, as well as giving women more access to resources, as has been mentioned, like credit, so powerfully by Minister Johnson, also assets and education. We need to make sure they have more control over those resources too. And part of this is about legal protections for women, as was mentioned, but it's also about addressing norms, as was talked about, and power dynamics. We need to be making headway here and more quickly, growing economies in a way that's sustainable and creates quality jobs for women, reforming care, as well as Ajay mentioned, so that men and women share the responsibilities of unpaid care work more easily and equitably, that care workers are properly rewarded and represented. We do need to be promoting women's leadership, and how exciting it was to hear about great examples of that from Togo. We need to make sure that the law protects women, including in the workplace, as my government is doing in the UK. And fundamentally, we also do need to make sure that women and adolescent girls have sexual and reproductive health rights and services too. I'm really pleased to see the bank gets this. It's really exciting. And that this is reflected in the new gender strategy alongside these powerful new targets. So we also just know finally IDA 21 is going to be critical to hitting those targets as well. So we're really pleased actually to be stating that we will be increasing our support for IDA 21, and very delighted to be here again for part of this discussion. Thank you.
On that very positive note, I am afraid we have to wrap up. I have so many more questions for you, but you have a very important meeting to get to. Many, many thanks for all your insights, your inspiration. Women's full economic potential is clearly crucial to ending world poverty. Today, we've learned about scalable solutions that work and the World Bank's new ambitious targets to help us get there by ensuring that millions more women are equipped to use broadband internet, by supporting millions more women with social protection programs, and providing millions more women-led businesses with capital. These essential services will not only boost the well-being of women, they will contribute to the well-being of their families, their communities, and their countries. Empower women, empower humanity. To you, our viewers here and online, what you think matters, we encourage you to be part of the hashtag Accelerate Equality Social Media Challenge. You can take part online via the Social Media Challenge tab on live.worldbank.org, or if you're here in person, just stop by the social media booth in the lobby just behind that wall. That brings us to the end of our event. You can watch a replay of this session and our other events at live.worldbank.org. Please do continue sharing your comments with us online with the hashtag WBGmeetings. Thank you for joining us, and now let's get to work.
Today, the World Bank Group announces new targets that will change the lives of millions. First, ensuring that by 2030, 300 million more women are equipped and able to use broadband internet, increasing connectivity, access to affordable devices and services, and building their skills to navigate the digital world. Second, ensuring 250 million women benefit from social protection programs, promoting better employment, preventing income loss, and protecting against shocks and transitions. Third, providing 80 million more women and women-led businesses with access to capital, unlocking economic growth, fostering innovation, and accelerating equality. We do this because the potential is immense. When women have the tools they need, they can create change, not just for themselves, but for entire communities, countries, even the world. So she can learn, so she can lead, so she can thrive. For all women everywhere, for all of us who wish to see an end to poverty on a livable planet. Together, we can accelerate equality. Together, we can end poverty on a livable planet. Let's get to work.